Alright, here we go. Look at me adjusting that camera, getting ready. We're gonna pop a reef into the old mainsail there. So I'm sailing somewhere deep in the South Atlantic on my way to Cape of Good Hope, and probably somewhere around like 37, 38 degrees south latitude. So not quite in the Southern Ocean, but getting close. And looks like the winds are building up, so time to take a little bit of sail down, get the pressure off the rig. So what I'm going to do first is just ease that main halyard. And I've already eased the main out a bit, but it looks like I'm on about a beam reach or maybe a little bit more of a broad reach. Now I've got to get those old slides down. My system on this boat is super crazy simple. There's nothing fancy about it. I'm getting it down and I put the reefing hook on. I've just got that tied onto the gooseneck with Spectra line. Once I get that in, then I'm going to crank it up a little bit tighter. Always want to make sure you have that luff super tight. As you can see, I'm having to balance, but I've got those little mast pulpits, and they come in handy because I can sort of lean against them or grab onto them. At this point, I've probably been out at sea for like maybe 70, 80 days, so I've definitely got my sea legs. Cleat off the old halyard, and now I've got to go for the tricky part. So I have two winches on the boom to do the reefing lines and be able to tighten those up so I can pull all the sail nice and tight. A lot of solo sailors will have, you know, everything led back to the cockpit, but I just don't. I go up to the mast, I do a lot of the work up there, and I don't know, I kind of like doing that just because it gives me a chance to always look at what's going on, if there's any chafe or anything going on up there. You can see I'm not hooked into anything. That's just a personal preference, so I don't recommend that for other people, but that's just how I roll. So this part takes quite a bit. It's a pain in sort of these conditions where I don't want to round up into the wind. And part of my reasoning on that, as soon as you turn sort of more into the wind with the Mighty Sparrow, she likes to buck like the frickin' bull. So it's a little more dangerous, I think. I like to keep her going off the wind. I put reefs in and stuff pretty much almost on a dead run. It just takes a lot longer, but you know, it's not too bad. I'm slowly cranking it in. You can see it tightening up a little bit there, and unfortunately the little blocks that I have were so far aft for this third reef, and I just didn't have enough time. I took delivery of these sails 2 days before I left on this trip, so there wasn't a huge amount of adjustment that I can make, but this worked. I mean, it worked all the way around the world, so it wasn't too bad. But you can see I'm trying to get that foot nice and tight, and then that's pretty much, so the sail is good, but now it's cleanup time. And I've got a lot, and that sail, again, that sail is so heavy. Holy cow. I've sailed at least, I think, about 40 or 50,000 miles with that mainsail, and it's never seen a sailmaker since for any repairs or anything. I've done a few things, but not much. So I'm inspecting, I'm looking around, dee-dee-dee. Mostly I'm just trying not to get too wet. You can see how the mainsail is sheeted way out. There's no real pressure on it. You always have to do that when you reef a mainsail. Wow, I'm not even going to clean it up. Oh no, I think what I'm probably going to do is sheet it in a little bit, so then I can go and get the little cleanup lines on the mainsail. You normally wouldn't want to leave it all saggy like that. You take a big wave or something and it hits that, you'll break some stuff. But so I'm going to go back, do a little adjusting. You can see the boat's powering along really well. Again, this is a really heavy old West Sail 32, and that mainsail is tiny now, but with the staysail she's still got quite a bit of power. I'd say it's probably blowing in the high 20s, maybe something like that. So yeah, I'm taking it in a little, and then I'm probably gonna head right back up. I haven't watched this whole video in quite some time. Ooh, get a little water down. There we go. Hydrate, always important. I was getting down to the water at this point too. Maybe I'm gonna go up there, maybe I'm not. I don't know. Just looking around. It's one thing out at sea. You get a lot of time typically to do pretty much anything and everything. There we go. Yeah, she's powering right along. So I've adjusted. It looks like I've tried to adjust myself off the wind a bit. And this may be just a situation where I don't actually clean it up. Maybe it's just a temporary thing. It might be a squall coming in or something like that. Unfortunately, I can't pan around because I can't go back in time. Essentially, what's going on is the winds have picked up a little too much. The pressure on the rig was a bit uncomfortable, or the boat just couldn't steer. It was getting a little wild, so you throw that reef in, take the pressure off, boat sails better, less chance of breaking anything, and you're good to go. So that is putting a reef in aboard Mighty Sparrow.